And we haven't been found wanting when we look at the work that we've done historically. So I would like to stress that we haven't seen, and KPMG International either hasn't seen any evidence that suggests that our issues are systemic.
Okay, but I mean, there was a problem. I mean, the memorandum to KPMG, it was dated 21st of August 2015. Maishani, Moodley and Monama recommended the findings and recommendations be incorporated into the KPMG report at SARS. We saw those cut and pasted from letters that the lawyers sent to KPMG. They were put into the official KPMG report. That report that then led SARS to say there's a rogue unit operating in SARS. Pravin Gordhan knew about it, or at least he should have known about it, and it led to the most untold night of the long knives at SARS. It emasculated SARS to a large extent. It put charges against Pravin Gordhan. It caused the country extreme distress. And KPMG says, we're sorry. Is that good enough?
We're sorry is never going to be good enough. And we are incredibly really regretful, and we apologize unreservedly for that, for the pain that has been caused to the individuals concerned, to the pain that has been caused to the institutions involved, to the pain that it has caused actually to South Africa, and to the trust that South Africa has on the auditing profession and the professional services profession. We're incredibly regretful.
The World Economic Forum says we've got the world's most highly rated audit system in the world, and you've just undermined that as KPMG.
And this is why I'm saying, as the new CEO, I'm doing everything possible to make sure that we hear the messages that society is telling us, that our stakeholders, our regulators, our clients, everybody is telling us. And this is why the inquiry is really important to me personally. And I think it's important that the audit profession receives a fair hearing, and we don't damage that. So we're really deeply regretful.
You're not an accountant. You're not an auditor.
No.
You are an HR person. Is that the right sort of person to have in charge of a deeply complex organization that does deeply technical work across multiple companies and state organizations at a time of huge controversy?
I've played different roles, Bruce, and when I came into KPMG, I came in as an advisory partner on areas like people and change, organizational transformation.
So can you explain IFRS in 10 words or less? Because if you can't, what stops future auditors within KPMG who may be tainted by the same brush as this from pulling the wool over your eyes?
Let me tell you what I am doing and what we have agreed with KPMG International. One of the focus areas for me is to make sure that we have an experienced head of audit in charge of the auditing practice to make sure that we don't ever find ourselves here again.
Didn't you have an experienced head of audit before?
We did. And that experienced head of audit has had to depart, sadly. So we are in the process of appointing someone else. But most importantly, we are looking at bringing in 2 people, experienced partners from our international network. And one of them is already on the ground.
Chief Operating Officer?
Yes. Yeah. And we're looking at a Chief Risk Officer. Our global Chief Risk Officer is in the office, is in the country at the moment, working with us, working directly with the team to make sure that we don't wait. There isn't time to wait to fix. We're fixing as we're moving, and every minute, every day is important to us.
Have you spoken to Tom Moyane about his press conference yesterday, the fact that he's refusing to accept the fact that you've withdrawn the report, which was factually flawed and, again, misrepresented in the public eye? The first version of this report was leaked, of course, and it was used as the battering ram at SARS. Have you spoken to Tom Moyane?
We are engaging with SARS, and we are engaging with Mr. Moyane. We look forward to...
Do you know Tom Moyane?
Personally, no.
You don't know him? You've not ever dealt with him before?
Except for one phone call, one quick phone call, no.
When was that phone call?
It was on the day of the press conference. So we are engaging, Bruce.
Which press conference? Your press conference on Friday or his press conference yesterday?
His press conference.
And what was the tone of that conversation?
It was a request for a meeting, so there wasn't any...
When is that meeting going to happen?
We are waiting for confirmation.
Okay. Does the KPMG stance stand? You withdraw this report. It is an invalid report that was misrepresented by SARS to achieve a political goal within SARS and to target the finance minister. That is the subtext of the KPMG International report. You stand by that?
Bruce, the words that you've used, I cannot necessarily stand by. But what I'll say is that there are elements of that report and the way
But
that...
you withdrew the entire report.
Yes, because there were conclusions and recommendations that were drawn that were not part of our original mandate. And I'll leave it at that.
Why did KPMG, the moment that SARS was taking this document and using it as the equivalent of toilet paper, not stand up and say, hold on a second, you guys are out of line? Why did KPMG not do that? You were in the room. You're part of the EXCO. You're part of the leadership of this organization.
You know, Bruce, a lot of mistakes have been made. One of them is the reaction time of actually going back and challenging some of these.
This is 2015.
And
this is nearly 2 years later.
Bruce, I'm not going to make excuses and try and defend.
Did you know that this document was being abused by SARS?
Personally?
Yeah.
I was not aware of what was happening with the document, safe to say that the reports in the newspapers did exist.
You didn't think of going to the executives as the head of HR and saying, guys, what's going on here? This seems a bit crazy. The newspapers are saying that we're corrupt, and SARS is using this document that we produced, and there's a problem with the document. You didn't think that was important?
Well, conversations did happen, and a review of that work did happen prior to this. So,
but why did nobody go public to save the country? That's what I don't understand about KPMG.
Yeah, I think, Bruce, it's easy to speculate about what has happened. I cannot comment on all the processes that happened then. And what I can commit to you is, like we have been engaging with everyone now, and we are inviting commentary from some of our fiercest critics even, we want to engage and hear what the concerns are so that we can actually react on time. Like I'm saying, with all the interactions we've had, we've now decided and we support an independent inquiry into the work that was done. So I think what's important for us is to listen, engage, react, and react on time. We have learned lessons.
Do you have time? I mean, that's the question. I mean, you're meeting chief executives every day. CEOs are making a call as to whether to stick with you or not. How much time have you got?
We're committed to seeing this through, Bruce. We're doing everything possible. Our partners are out there, our people are out there talking to every client of ours, talking to every stakeholder. We're doing everything to make sure that we can answer, firstly, all the queries, we can take concerns, and we can creatively and constructively, with all the stakeholders, build a better KPMG.
Nhlamu Dlomu, she wants to build a better KPMG. Will you, as business leadership, however, give her the time in order to do so, or are you abandoning ship? Are you following Signia? Are you following the other companies that have decided to terminate the services of KPMG?
WN Traffic.